War has always been about discipline, loyalty and following orders. Yet behind the rigid structures of World War II, soldiers in every army often bent the rules or flat out broke them in order to survive, stay sane or gain a small advantage. These weren't small infractions like skipping a uniform inspection. We're talking about dangerous secrets that soldiers carefully hid from their commanders, because revealing them could mean harsh punishment, imprisonment, or even execution. Some of these secrets changed how battles were fought on the ground, while others reveal the human side of men forced into an impossible war. Let's pull back the curtain on 9 of the most shocking secrets World War II soldiers carried, and see not only how they survived, but how these lessons of resourcefulness and grit still echo for those studying history or preparing for survival in today's uncertain world. One of the least spoken truths of the war was how often frontline soldiers traded with the enemy. On the Eastern Front, Germans and Soviets would sometimes agree on an unofficial truce in frozen trenches, exchanging cigarettes, bread or even warm clothing. American and German troops in Italy occasionally bartered chocolate for wine. Commanders would have considered this treason, but for soldiers freezing in the mud, survival mattered more than regulations. This reminds us that in survival situations, resourcefulness often outweighs rigid obedience, and sometimes bartering, even with rivals, keeps you alive. Factories could not always supply enough weapons, so soldiers got creative. In occupied territories, partisans smuggled scrap metal, pipes and fertilizer to craft improvised bombs. Some American GIs welded together makeshift flamethrowers to clear bunkers when official equipment failed. These inventions were risky and forbidden, but they worked. For survivalists today, the lesson is clear: never underestimate the power of scrap and basic chemistry when conventional tools are unavailable. Ingenuity can level the playing field. Many soldiers kept diaries despite strict bans. Military leaders feared diaries could expose secrets if captured, yet countless soldiers still wrote daily records. These hidden notebooks, stuffed inside boots or sewn into uniforms, revealed their fears, struggles, and honest accounts of battles. While punishable if discovered, diaries became emotional lifelines. For modern readers, these accounts are gold, but for the soldiers, they were therapy under fire. It shows how in desperate times, recording your experiences, whether on paper or carved into wood, can preserve sanity and even secure your legacy. Forbidden radios were hidden to tune into enemy or civilian broadcasts. Radio possession outside official channels was, heavily restricted, but soldiers often built small, hidden receivers just to catch news and music. Some tuned into enemy propaganda broadcasts out of curiosity, while others listened to swing music or even coded resistance messages. This defiance, it connected them to a world beyond orders and trenches. The survival takeaway here is simple: communication is power. In any crisis, maintaining access to outside information, even if improvised, can really be the difference between isolation and control. Soldiers hoarded rations and built underground stashes. Commanders absolutely hated when soldiers stored food instead of following distribution schedules, but many secretly built caches in foxholes or abandoned buildings. Chocolate, canned meat, and even alcohol were tucked away for those truly desperate days. This behavior, believe it or not, often saved lives when supply lines collapsed. In survival planning today, this really mirrors the value of hidden reserves. A secret stash can be the lifeline no one else thought to prepare. Soldiers carried forbidden personal weapons for backup. Knives, pistols, and even enemy sidearms were often kept hidden. While official issue weapons were standard, many soldiers just distrusted them or feared running out of ammunition. Soviet troops, for example, frequently carried captured German Lugers. Some Americans carried sawed-off shotguns despite regulations. Keeping a forbidden backup was risky, but honestly, it gave them a psychological edge. For survivalists, it underscores the timeless principle of redundancy. Always have a plan B, weapon or tool. Many faked sickness or injuries to escape the front lines. The brutality of combat drove some soldiers to, secretly wound themselves or exaggerate illness to be sent to the rear. While commanders treated this as cowardice for the men involved, it was a desperate attempt to live another day. Some used cigarette burns or carefully inflicted flesh wounds to avoid detection. This dark reality, honestly, highlights the crushing psychological strain of war, and for modern readers it reinforces the need to prioritize mental resilience as much as physical survival. Underground trading rings flourished beneath official supply. Beyond barter with the enemy, soldiers created black markets within their own ranks, cigarettes became currency, and stolen gasoline could buy anything from warm clothes to extra rations. Commanders cracked down on this, but it never stopped. The survival lesson here is simple. When official systems fail, underground economies rise. Understanding how to trade in non-traditional currencies is a skill worth studying. Soldiers hid acts of mercy from their superiors. One of the most human secrets soldiers carried was sparing enemies against orders. Some refused to shoot surrendering men when commanders demanded no prisoners. Others secretly guided civilians out of battle zones. These decisions, if revealed, could have cost them their lives. It reminds us that even in brutal conditions, humanity can survive in quiet acts of defiance. These 9 secrets reveal that soldiers in World War II were far from the obedient machines propaganda sometimes portrayed. They were human beings who bent rules, broke orders, and risked punishment to survive, find comfort, and hold on to their humanity. For history buffs, these hidden stories open the door to a more truthful understanding of war. For survivalist enthusiasts, they carry valuable lessons on resourcefulness, improvisation, and resilience. If you found these untold stories eye-opening, help spread them by sharing this video with others who love uncovering the raw truths of history. And don't forget to subscribe to In the Beginning so you never miss our deep dives into the hidden chapters of the past.